Our next host will be TV and radio host and founder of the Kasem Cares Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only Kerri Kasem.
How many of you have heard my story and know what went on with my father, Kerri Kasem? So most of you in the room. Okay. I thought I was alone on this one until I went public with what was going on with my family. And that was that I was being blocked, my sister was being blocked, my brother was being blocked, and all of my dad's friends and family were being blocked from him when he got sick enough. So I'll start with, I had a very, very strong relationship with my father. There's a lot of stuff out there, you read a lot of stuff is tabloid. My father never cut us off. I never borrowed $3 million from my father. My sister and brother and I were very close to my father. We saw him every single week and talked to him every day on the phone until he lost his voice. So we knew this was coming down, that he was going to get worse. And my father, behind my stepmother's back, signed a durable power of health over to us kids. Because we knew that something like this may go on. Because she had done this, my stepmother, Jean Kasem, had done this to her own mother with her 8 siblings. So about 3 months of me and my brother and sister trying to see my dad, finally say, okay, I'm going to go public with this because this is ridiculous. I'm going to say, in hopes that my stepmother will say, okay, shut up, I'll let you see your dad. It didn't happen. We went public with it. I protested outside of my own father's home with signs saying, why won't you let me see my dad? Dad, we love you. So eventually I did get to see my dad and won conservatorship over my father because my stepmother pulled my father out of a nursing home that she had put him in at 2:30 in the morning simply because I got a visit with my dad. I got a visit with my dad that night, May 7th at 2:30 in the morning. My stepmother and my half-sister pulled my dad out of his bed, put him in a wheelchair, stole all the equipment that he was hooked up to and threw him in the back of an SUV. A couple days later, they found him in Vegas, the bed sore bigger than my hand. And a few days after that, he was flown to Washington. And by the time I had gotten to him 2 weeks later, he was done. And we tried everything we could to save him, but eventually his body was shutting down. My stepmother went to court and said, put him back on fluids. She got an injunction to put him back on this when my father couldn't breathe. The minute we stuck an IV in him and gave him any kind of fluids, his lungs flew up and he was suffocating to death. Thank God he had a do not resuscitate because my stepmother could have won that injunction and he would have suffocated to death. I knew he wanted to go. I knew he wanted to go. So it wasn't on me entirely to say, let's, put him on hospice care. But I decided at this point, after fighting this and trying to see my dad and going through, at this point, a lot of money, said, okay, we got to do something for everybody else. So I decided to start the foundation, Kasem Cares Foundation, to promote legislation that would allow a judge, and this is how simple this is. This is so simple, and you cannot believe this is not in the law books. To allow a judge to rule on visitation. How simple is that? So people say, why did she do it? Why did she do it? That's the $100 million question. I have my own. I've gone on radio, I've gone on air saying I think it's severe mental illness. When I was a very little girl, my stepmother took I had a little penguin that I slept with every night. I'm 9 years old. And the dog chewed up the beak of the penguin. And she said, leave your penguin here and I'll fix him up. I love to sew. I'm 9 years old. I come back the next week, she has thrown the animal this little stuffed animal that I've had to her dogs as a chew toy. This is who I'm dealing with. This is a woman that if my dad walked out of a room and we were all playing together, when my dad walked back in, she would tell him that we had done something to her. I don't know why she does the things she does. I don't know why she did what she did to her 8 siblings with her mom. I don't even know if they know where she's buried. I sure don't. I don't know where my dad's buried. I don't even know if he is or isn't. It's another court. You know, we're gonna have to fight in the court to get my dad back here because he's in Canada. So whether you're in a good marriage or not a good marriage, or you're married, your second and your third, you're on your fourth, or if you're married to the same person, please make sure you protect yourself, you protect your kids. It's so important. It's so important. So thank you so much for having me.